Hey everyone, this is Iron Torch 20, and I am going to be doing something new here. This is going to be one of those first impressions of a episode of Samurai Jack. This is actually the first episode of Samurai Jack of Season 5, and it has been a while, and one thing I do like is that they did decide to market it more towards adults because the people who grew up watching Samurai Jack as kids, well, they've grown up. So I do enjoy that they're at least catering to the crowd here. But either way, this is going to be full of spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet, you can go ahead and wait on this. I really did enjoy this episode. I do like how it sets things up between what happened in the past and 50 years later. And for whatever reason, Jack doesn't age because I guess some weird effect time travel has on him. But anyway, what does stand out about Samurai Jack in the first place was the visuals. And the first battle with those strange aliens that like talk through like some electric signs where they can display language and even emojis. And that was something that I actually enjoyed, was how after Jack was done kicking the crap out of all these bug beetle bots, or the bug bots, or whatever that was. I mean, I do like how the one girl alien thing just had an emoji instead of actual language. But either way, that's definitely a nice little preview of how awesome the visuals are in this show. And with the visuals, Jack starts having all these visions of all the people he supposedly feels guilty about letting down. And the one that really got to me was the one with his parents, and when he was going there to go into the river just to get some water. First, his parents show up as leaves in the vision. And then there was one that really got to me, and that was the river with all of these corpses just floating by and basically scolding him for letting them down. And I'm guessing that just has more to do with his guilt as opposed to the actual visions, because the visions aren't real, and he does run away from them whenever he gets a chance to, which I guess was a recurring theme here. And another visual that really got to me was when he was just on a pretty typical campfire, and then he sees his father, better known as the Emperor, all chained up and basically saying, "Have you forgotten your purpose?" And they kind of give this away in the trailer. And even the visuals after that with the faces within the fire, that was also another one that really got to me. And one thing that does happen that was in the trailer was the Daughters of Aku, and I also do like the way they're depicted. Like, they're not really depicted as bad, so to say, but I guess they're a leader, or their cult leader, or whatever you call her. I don't know, I have the feeling we're going to be learning a lot more about her as the series goes on, but their leader does end up training them to hate the samurai, and that Aku's the good guy and that Jack's the bad guy, and so forth. I mean, it's just basic propaganda, nothing you haven't seen. But either way, I do enjoy how they showed each of those Daughters of Aku getting stronger as the episode went on, and I'm also wondering what's their time frame for aging. I have no idea. Yeah, we'll see. I'm guessing that's something that's going to go unanswered, but I don't know. I guess I'm probably the only one asking that question. But moving on, one thing that isn't revealed in the trailer that does end up happening was Jack ends up having to fight this assassin, or this robot assassin. He actually reminded me a lot of, who was it? Actually, never mind, I'll get to that later. What I do love about this particular character was, even though he was a robot, the writers and even the voice actor, I have no idea who the voice actor was, but they gave him just such a great flamboyant personality, even though he's supposed to be this really badass robot assassin. And what I did enjoy about him was that he was delightfully goofy and flamboyant, but he can also, like, manipulate objects and then also get metal to explode. Well, I mean, not really explode, so to say, but I guess, like, mess with the frequency to the point where it just blows apart. Or metal alloys just blow apart. And he actually did remind me of that one assassin from Trigun who could like play the saxophone and then like manipulate people. Instead, this time he played the flute and ended up being able to like manipulate rocks or manipulate a sword. And then the way Jack beats him is also very creative too. And let's see, outside of that, I mean, there's definitely a lot more questions that need to be answered, and in the next episode, you will see the daughters of Aku have their first encounter with Jack, and that is definitely one I'm looking forward to, and they kind of do address that somewhat in the trailers. But I mean, that's one I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. And I don't know, as far as the rest of my first impressions go, yeah, I think as far as that goes, I'm probably done with overall first impressions of that episode, but for the rest of the season, I'm really looking forward to seeing what current characters return, and they kind of did tease that the Scotsman was going to be back, but I mean, I don't know who else is going to be there. I mean, I'm kind of hoping for some other characters, and there was this one particular vision that Jack had of this samurai riding a horse, and that horse actually did remind me a lot of the Odin's horse from the Birth of Evil that came to Jack's father, and then he ended up riding it to meet the three gods or the three monks. So I mean, I'm kind of thinking that Odin, Ra, and Rama might return. So they also, this was a heavy spoiler, they do reveal in a flashback that Jack ends up losing his sword in some cliff. And they don't really say much about it, it's just that it happened. So it will be interesting to see like what happens with that, because outside of that, Jack really doesn't have much of a way of beating Aku. But then again, Aku actually doesn't appear in this episode, but the robot assassin actually did end up calling him just to try and tell him that Jack lost his sword, but then Jack ends up destroying his phone before then. I mean, I just thought that was a pretty comical scene. Especially with the episode that's so... I guess an episode that's so serious in tone, and I kind of do like that they made that robot assassin such a funny guy. I mean, that's definitely one of the bright spots of this episode, was that part. Of course, there were a lot of bright spots, but I don't know, outside of that, I think I'm done with overall first impressions. So, I'll just do this again next week.